My original interest in art started with my mom. She'd do some sketching and she would hand me these sketches and I'd try to recreate them. And then as I got older, I was hanging out with some friends who were really into comic books and I was really intrigued by the artwork in those. And then from there, I started doing commercial design in high school. For a while, it was kind of something I just relied on just to get me through, whatever emotions I had. Art was always there to just have something to escape into. My bigger inspirations for art, stuff in the comic world like Frank Frazetta and Mike Mignola, John Burns, more of the abstract type stuff like in the Vertigo comics, like the stuff you'd see in Sandman. That was stuff that just always grabbed my attention. The first time I got some design work was through my friend Charlie. He was in a local band called Gat Rot. He knew I needed to keep busy just because I was going through some family stuff, and he was in a new band called God Hunter, and they asked if I wanted to take a stab at a poster for an upcoming show. And so I poured all my focus into that and just enjoyed reconnecting with art and music, and I submitted that piece of art that ended up getting used for the album cover. And from there we established a relationship where I just started doing, I think, 3 albums for them. They just let me do what I wanted to do, and I enjoyed that freedom, and that came from their music just inspiring me. So my love of horror basically started with my grandmother. My dad was a single parent, so I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and they had a huge hand in raising me. And my grandmother loved horror movies, and we basically watch them all summer. And she would call me when I was at my dad's and say, "Hey, mijo, you gotta watch this one." And she would take me to the theater all the time to watch scary movies. So that's where it developed. And then some of my inspirations for the horror type art, a lot of it comes from Bernie Wrightson, he's an amazing illustrator, and Tim Vigil, who did Faust. Those guys they capture a moment, like you could just look at the illustration and there's more to it. Every piece has purpose. So I try to make my stuff like that. Like every piece looks like something, like part of a bigger part, bigger story. So I try to convey that, in the figures too, like it's just a moment. Like you want to know more about it. I guess that's what I'm trying to convey with these pieces. So I was really intrigued by 3D printing, and I just wanted to try it and learn, and so I bought a 3D scanner with no real plans. So my son had this idea to maybe scan some of the bands I'd been working with and making Army Man figures out of them, and we tested it on him and it worked okay, and we wanted to keep improving on it. So we just invited one band and scanned about 4 or 5 members of the band, then we invited more people through, and we just kept trying to refine it and get better at it and seeing what did and didn't work. Eventually just ended up with 300 people that were basically part of a project that allowed us to learn and get better at this entire thing. So this time around for Series 2, we got to work with some local musicians. This is Bruce. He plays drums and he's also a singer. He was a fun scan. He's somebody we've been wanting to work with for a while. He actually did some singing on the spot for us. That was kind of fun. We also have Omar, who's another local musician, and he brought 30 different props. He had a guitar, I believe it was a rain stick, and this really cool drum. And then we also had Nikki, who's a local photographer and gardener, and she brought this giant sunflower with her in a bouquet. The response to the project's been great. Being able to meet people, they're total strangers to us, or some are repeats from the last project. It's great, especially after a year and a half of just people being isolated, and now we get to have these meetings with them and do something collaborative and something positive. We got to do a scan with an old friend of mine since I was 6. His name is John Proudstar, and he's currently in Reservation Dogs show on Hulu. So it was fun being able to reconnect with him and work on this project. He was an inspiration for me when I was a kid, because he was the one that introduced me to a lot of the comics and art that I still enjoy. We've been fortunate to work with some big touring bands like the Melvins and Mastodon, and a member of Neurosis, and Mike Patton from Faith No More, and Dave Lombardo from Slayer. A lot of times those have just been reaching out in the internet, just saying, how can I go about working with this band? And I've been lucky that somebody knows somebody. So you kind of throw it out there, and I hope that might be into it. And we've even had bands that we like reach out to us and say, hey, if we're ever in Tucson, let's meet up and do this. I think if I'd been afraid of reaching out, we probably wouldn't be where we're at right now. Just taking a chance and just being confident in the project and enjoying what we do. After 400 people, I think it's helped bring it this far. With the first 300 set of figures for version 1, we ended up showing that set at We Gallery downtown. And then from there, they were all moved to the Mini Time Machine Museum of Miniatures. This time around, we wanted to be able to exhibit again. So I reached out before I announced this new series and asked, would this be something you'd be interested in showing the second version? version. You know, we've modified everything we've done. They're looking better, and we want to showcase 100 more people. They're all for it, and we had a date picked for the show within a day or two of, you know, connecting with them.
I've been the director for the Mini Time Machine Museum since 2016. However, I've been with the museum since just before we opened in 2009. So I've really had the opportunity to see it grow and progress over time. Here at the Mini Time Machine Museum, we sort of take the word miniature as broadly as possible, so we can really showcase all the different uses of miniatures and the different art forms of miniatures. Back in 2016, we decided to open a community corner because we were very aware that there are a lot of people in Tucson and the surrounding area who are making miniatures, and a whole variety of them. And I became aware of Rudy's work, who is doing something really quite unique. We're really fascinated with the idea of taking Army figures and utilizing new technology, you know, 3D printing, to make fine art. It was really quite popular because so many people wanted to come see themselves or their neighbor or their friend. It was a great opportunity too to kind of introduce people to the world of miniatures who might not have really known what it was all about. So it was a really great experience. I'm hoping that the path that Rudy started with his artwork can lead us to better communication, better understanding of each other, and really open up the community to also supporting the arts more, because it's an opportunity where people can really see each other in a unique way and communicate in a unique fashion. After dealing with COVID and looking at how that impacted all of our lives, we can better understand how the community's changed and how it's growing, and learn new things about ourselves and hopefully improve the community.
You're gonna be on YouTube. Oh, sorry. Here, come here. You wanna be on YouTube? So this is my son, Nico Flores. He's 3, and he's been helping with the project. He knows how to use the printers. He knows how to find files and hit print, and he'll end up being a toy as well in the next exhibit. Say hi.
Hey.
I think any attention that I've gotten through the project, I have the community to thank for that, because it's not so much about me and my work. It's mostly about focusing on them, you know, and their accomplishments or their passions and their willingness to share. I appreciate them and, you know, those moments we've had together. So I think we'll always do different volumes of this, but there's other 3D related projects I want to do with the community. So I think there's potential for more. I'm inspired by, you know, a lot of the community projects we've had here, the tile projects we've had, and these murals of Tucsonians, and I love that kind of stuff, just seeing people represented, and you go downtown and you see this stuff, and you can't help but smile, and that's what I want for this too.